Hey, good morning. It's Thursday, December 3rd. Thanks for being here this morning. We're well into the Advent season, this season of Christmas, this time where we acknowledge and celebrate the coming of the Lord to earth in human form. And there are any number of places in Scripture we could turn to that, certainly passages in Isaiah and other prophets, the Gospels, especially Luke's Gospel, but also a number of Psalms. And one of those Psalms is Psalm 98, and that's one I want to look at for several days because it's such a rich Psalm. Isaac Watts wrote his hymn, Joy to the World, based on this Psalm. And the hymn is basically a paraphrase of Psalm 98. I'm going to be reading from the Christian Standard Bible, which is one of the translations that I like. It's helpful. So but we're going to take this in small chunks because it's so significant for us. There's several Psalms in the late 90s up through 100 which talk about the royal kingship of God and his rule. So these Psalms are celebrating, and this portion of the Psalter are celebrating the kingship and rule of God in the world. So Psalm 98 then is celebrating the rule of the king. And this is really what the Advent is all about, the rule of King Jesus. So verse 1, that's what we're going to look at this morning. Verse 1, sing a new song to the Lord, for he has performed wonders. His right hand and his holy arm have won him victory. Psalm 98 is a psalm I believe that we can form a very healthy worldview of how things work, just simply from the 9 verses of this psalm, the structure of this psalm. And so that I'll be referring to the psalm in that way. So we're not just talking about a Christmas or Advent psalm. We're talking about the way that God runs his world. And we can maintain a worldview from this. We can learn a worldview from this. This is a worldview that you can teach your children. Not only can, should teach your children. Because this shows life as it really is. Not based on circumstances, not based upon all this mess that's going on around us, and especially in the year 2020, when we think things are so out of whack. God has never ceased to be in control. There is not one thing that's happening in 2020 that has caught God by surprise. We're caught by surprise because we think that we rule the world collectively as humans. Certainly in the United States, we believe that we rule the world. And again, my favorite question, how's that working out for us? There's no need to be shocked about 2020. What we need to do is bring honor to God. So look at these words. Sing a new song to the Lord. The sing a new song in the Psalter typically means it's just another time when they're so excited about God that they're proclaiming his power. So when you see new psalm in the song in the Psalter, it's basically referring to that. Why? Because he has performed wonders. The word could be translated amazing things. God does the amazing, the wonderful, the astounding. And certainly he's done that in 2020. His right hand and his holy arm have won him victory. See, God is about bringing honor to his name. That's what he does. That's who he is. If we want a first pillar of worldview to hang on to here, God is about bringing victory to himself, and his powerful right hand, his holy right hand and arm are winning victory for him. And if you want an understanding of 2020, God is gaining victory for himself. Well, you may not look at it that way, but God does. He continues to do wonderful things. Whether we see the tumult in the world, whether there's a loss of a loved one, whether we do amazingly more than we ever thought we could in terms of being blessed, or we're overcome with devastating life circumstances and sorrow and heartache. God is still the Lord. He is the King. He has won this victory for himself. So this first cornerstone of a worldview, of understand how this world works, is we are to sing to God, to the Lord. For he is performing wonderful, amazing things. His right hand and his holy arm have won the victory. We're not longing back to a time in Bethlehem, but we're seeing what that time in Bethlehem has brought. It has brought to us the rule of Christ. And that's where we start. The Lord has won the victory. He is winning the victory right now. 2020 is not an asterisk in God's mind. 2020 is what God has for us to understand. This is his world. He is the ruler. He is the king. Christ is Lord of the world, and he's Lord of our hearts. And that's the first concept of Psalm 98. Let's build this worldview together as we celebrate Advent, the coming of Christ from God's perspective. And, again, give me feedback. Lord willing, we'll be able to continue looking at Psalm 98 tonight. You have a great day.